All right, let's get down to business. We'll save some more for the BS later. Okay, let's ready rock and roll. The latest on Vince McMahon. I mean, I'm sure he's retired. I'm sure he's relaxing at his mansion and has nothing to worry about. What?
Yeah,
What?
nothing.
Oh, this sick son of a goose. I guess time has caught up with him. Uh, he's being accused of sex trafficking, which is a serious crime. He's also been accused of other crimes where other people are coming up, and a lot of his right hand men are turning on him pretty quickly. So it's not looking good for Vince McMahon. And the big thing is, I know a lot of people don't want to do this, but I feel like for me, Vince most likely have his day in court. If he's innocent, may he countersue. If he's guilty, may he serve his full sentence. But if he is guilty, I want to know who else knew. I feel like that's something that a lot of people are skipping over. They're like, well, who cares who knew? But no, if people had power
No,
and
I
they
think
knew, they
that's
should have stepped up.
massively important.
Yeah, I think insane, insane. And there's also, well, you know more details, Sid. Would you like to add in anything?
Well, I know for the biggest thing has been there's been so much since we in the 2 weeks. The biggest thing has been that we'll start with Janelle Grant aspect. That has proven that even if we operate under this hypothetical realm where Vince McMahon is innocent, which I think is incredibly unlikely. Even in that hypothetical realm, though, where he's innocent of this one, she led to the uncovering of there being multiple other NDAs and them doing an internal investigation, which means there are other people that have to know more no matter what at this point and kept him in the company for the last 2 years, no matter what. TKO doesn't get a clean slate because of that aspect. And then she's brought up unnamed executives, which we don't know who they are yet, but if it went to a trial, we would find out. And the only person that was named, other than Brock Lesnar, was heavily implied was Brock Lesnar, is Johnny Ace, and Johnny Ace has started turning on Vince already, as we know. Johnny Ace is
He's saying that he was part of the system and basically trying to become a victim in all this. But
yeah, he's basically he was controlled by Vince too.
yeah, which to me is it's far fetched, but I guess you got to get out of it as any way you can. And if
There can
people are,
also be, I mean, it is possible that like Vince had some sort of dirt or leverage over him at some point that got turned into him doing things he maybe didn't want to. But Johnny Ace has always had a pretty awful
track record,
reputation. Yeah. He's never been known as an upstanding, non sexual deviant guy. He's kind of been a sexual deviant for as long as we've known. I have trouble believing that it was all Vince McMahon making him. You know what I mean?
like he's just an innocent schoolboy. He's like, I love
Yeah.
prayers and vitamins, and Vince is like, you gotta do this to keep your job. And it's
Yeah.
like,
And
okay.
and Johnny's already started John Laurinaitis, Johnny A's, has already started just turning on it completely. His lawyer already brought up where Ashley Massaro now has pointed out that they were aware of her reports and her accusations about the rape in where was it at? It was
I
at a
it was a
USO show,
military
but I forget
base.
which
Yeah,
country.
I, I, bel
Was it
I don't know.
Kuwait?
It might be overseas. I apologize. I don't want to
It was
misinformation.
overseas. It was a Middle Eastern country. I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one. I
and
don't
and
remember what
according
base
to
it was.
her, the military and WWE covered it up, and later she took her own life. So, and I don't know if that doesn't make you feel absolutely disgusting. I don't know, like what. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's super gross, and it's something that people who are more in touch with the rumor mill of wrestling this has been one of those stories that's kind of been a known story for a while, but it was their words against hers thing. Well, now Johnny Ace, through his lawyer, has said they were aware of it, of what she was saying at least, which counters WWE having said they didn't even know about it prior to everything happening. Prior to, I think it was prior to her suicide or prior to her release, whatever it was. They basically played like they had no clue.
Yeah.
But now he's countered that, saying, "Oh no, we knew."
And the thing is, I think this is how it's going to fall. Because if you don't have people looking out for themselves and turning on each other, they could possibly get away with it. But the fact that they're turning on each other pretty quickly and probably working deals behind. Because here's the thing: do you think this goes to trial? Because TKO, Triple H, WWE definitely do not want this to go to trial.
No,
They do not
they
want
want
this
to
to go to
minimize
trial.
this as soon as they can. But the question is, does she want to minimize it?
Um, I know it sounds. I don't know. You never know. You never know the person. I'm just guessing here, trying to put myself in her shoes. I think if you were this brave to go this far, you kind of want to see it through the end.
That's how I feel. I feel like this is the thing. She already got some money from the settlement part with Vince, with that the NDA payment that she only got one of the payments for. She's not going to be hurting for money in that sense. I don't think it's about money at all. I think this is going to be about exposing all of the fucked up shit that basically put her in that system. And at this point, I think every woman that comes forward and gets in touch with her lawyer and gets word to her that her doing this is helping them in any way, even if it's past performers, anything, I think that's just going to cement her on the path. I don't think she's turning away. I don't think this gets settled.
And I hope on that the women coming forward, I hope are genuine. You just hope that they're genuine voices. I'm sure there's enough genuine voices to take a lot of people down in this situation. But on top of that, you were mentioning how the lawyer is not a fly by night pick 'em get rich quick lawyer.
Yeah, Janelle Grant's lawyer is like she was a lawyer, worked her way up to being a judge, and then retired as a judge and decided to keep doing legal work. So she's not a slouch. Her lawyer is definitely tenured in terms of legal work,
And the thing is,
despite what Kevin Nash may be implying.
if you want to expose something like this, do you think it goes like O.J. Simpson and Pirates of the Caribbean and they go on television? Do you think it goes that far? Like they're going to televise the court hearings? Because that would be a black eye. And if you're wanting to take down a company, like
I don't know, man. Vince is big enough that I could see that being a thing.
Yeah,
Harvey Weinstein was very public.
yeah, it can get very public pretty
people want
fast.
to see villains get punished now.
Well, in defense, I don't think they want to see villains get punished. I think they just want to. I think humanity wants to see humanity get punished. But also,
I think people will want to see villains get punished because the world state. I think they want to see villains get punished, and they'll take whatever villains are put up in front of them at the guillotine.
yeah, and all that. But like, people just love when it goes public. They just have so much to. I hate to use the word, but maybe there's more entertainment value. If it goes public, everyone's gonna know about it. Everyone's gonna hear it. It's like the Amber Heard case and all that. I don't even pay attention to stuff like this. So I want to be completely honest. But even I like would be getting clips through my timeline and all that, and it would go viral. So it'll be an interesting situation.
I also think it'll be interesting to see what WWE does. Even if no matter how it progresses with her, it's clear Vince is persona non gratis. Like he's gone to them, and they replaced Brock Lesnar with LA Knight in the first. Braun Breaker took his place in the Rumble. It wasn't Pat McAfee. Apparently, Braun Breaker fully took his place in all his spots, which is cool. Great for Braun Breaker. Really cool, positive thing that comes out of it. And he's going to take his place in all the plans they had for him, which is cool. Great for Braun Breaker. That's a great positive thing that comes out of this horrible
And
shit.
he's young and very talented.
Yeah. So that's an upside out of it. But they've they replaced him in that way. They took him out of their intro. LA Knight took his place in the video reels. They erased him off the cover of
WWE 2K.
2K24, the joint cover.
Yeah,
So
WrestleMania
he's
40.
clearly getting erased out, and I think that's a very bad sign.
Yeah, and they're trying to little by little erase Vince, and it's gonna be weird, uh, erasing him from the company.
They
But
were
then
trying to figure
again,
out how to erase him from 2K24,
yeah, and
which
also,
has a year the like something WrestleMania. The main modes feature is WrestleMania moments.
yeah, it's like 40 years of WrestleMania,
Yeah,
and they got Brock. I think maybe they
without
probably
Vince.
had a match with Vince in it. So they're probably gonna ask, dude. And here's the thing: knowing video games, me and you, we're nerds at wrestling and video games, so we kind of know a little bit. And I'm nerds about the 2K games. You know, the 2K staff hates this. They
Oh
were
God,
so
yeah.
pissed when they cut Bray Wyatt. They're so pissed when the roster changes, and then bam, they're advertising. They got people on the cover and they're switching it. Oh, because not everyone that works on a 2K game, I imagine, is a wrestling fan. They're probably just like, oh, I
Yeah,
make
but
video
covered.
games.
I don't know. If I imagine if you're working on WWE 2K's game, you probably are a wrestling fan.
Probably.
There are a lot of game studios you could work for, and I feel like if you want to work on WWE 2K, you probably really like wrestling on some level.
Yeah, same thing with like NBA and NHL and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. But all I know is I got to talk to him. I'm going to keep him nameless just because he's not a public figure. But I did talk to a 2K employee, and they did say they absolutely despise when the roster changes. They're just like, why? We could just keep the roster the same, just ride it out. So, all this happening, you're probably going to take away the McMahons, and you probably have to take away Brock, and you probably have to fast
Yeah.
edit that 40 years to WrestleMania, which I don't think is coming out on day one. I think
Well,
you
the
have to
40
wait.
years of WrestleMania, the good thing is when you think about it, from what I was told, it's only going to be 26 of it's 20 or 26 or something like that. It's not all 40 of the years.
Yeah,
They're only
because
going to do a certain number of them. So I think it's very easy to do an audible. The one that was pointed out to me that I think is the hardest to to go around and you just have to lose it is Rock Stone Cold where McMahon self-inserted as the ref.
yeah,
That's hard to erase.
I
You got to
mean,
just
you could
drop
just
it.
have a referee, but it's still not the same.
Yeah, it's too big of a
Yeah,
thing.
it's kind of like WrestleMania 20's main
He
event's not
throws
going
in
to be
the
in it.
chair. Like there's so much stuff.
Yeah, and I always do. I always end it. I feel like this is my end of a segment to this. If Vince is innocent, I want him to countersue. If he is guilty, I want everyone that knew to be exposed. I think that is the most fair statement, no matter where you stand on the situation. And hopefully, justice will be served one way or the other. Is there anything you want to
What I
add?
think, what I think is it could be very interesting if it ends up going to a criminal angle is if it goes to the criminal angle and they're exploring the sex trafficking aspect, find that to be plausible enough and start to dig into other crimes that he has, which they will do. At that point, if they feel like if they have a case on something, they're going to go for other things and see what all they can get, and they're going to try and get as much as they can up there because it helps them.
Yeah, and
I
not
have to
that, but
wonder
you
if
don't know what
Snuka
will
comes up.
stick. It could be tax evasion. There's so many people that get caught on tax evasion.
Oh yeah,
It could be anything
there's
once the
there's a
court case is
lot of
open.
things that I think can come up when they start digging into him, especially the way he's ran his carny business. I guarantee there's shit that can come up that's gonna look real bad.
I mean, even stuff that it's not a crime, but you're like, oh, that's not what, Oh, were they freelancers, open contract guys? What do they call them? They have a word
Contractors,
for them. No, they have a word for them. The
they do call them
wrestlers.
contractors.
Yeah, but I think they're like freelance. I don't think they're actual employees. But
Yeah,
the
the
thing,
contractors.
but the thing is with that is like the way they've been doing that for years. In certain states, you're not allowed to do that. In certain states, you can't tell someone where not to work if they're not an employee.
There are a
So
lot of
there's a lot of small stuff like that that could be exposed very
yeah,
fast.
and it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. I think this is bad for them, and I don't see any good coming out of it for them really overall.